185,000 dead in one night. No enemy army, no disease, no natural disaster, just silence. What force on earth could do this? The Assyrians were the masters of siege warfare. They had toppled empires, but outside Jerusalem, they met their match. Not in battle, but in the dark of night. What power could bring the mightiest army to its knees without firing a single arrow? We want to take you back to a sad time in Jerusalem. The streets that once belonged to God were now filled with fake idols. People burned sweet-smelling leaves to these false gods, while King Ahaz, Hezekiah's father, led them away from the true God. Young Prince Hezekiah would watch from his window as his people bowed to these lifeless statues. The great temple of Solomon, which should have been full of prayers and songs, was now quiet and locked. No one went there anymore. But Hezekiah was different from the others. When people forgot about God, he remembered all the stories his teachers told him. Stories about King David, who trusted God and won his battles. Stories about Moses, who led God's people through the desert. Stories about Abraham, who believed in God with all his heart. These weren't just old tales to Hezekiah. They were real, and they gave him hope. Each new day, Hezekiah saw more fake temples going up in Jerusalem streets. The people had forgotten about their special friendship with the real God. They were lost and confused, like sheep without someone to guide them. Then everything changed. King Ahaz died, and Hezekiah became the new king. He was young, but he knew what he had to do. His first job as king, he walked right up to the Temple of Solomon and told his workers to open those big, locked gates. The people watched with wide eyes as their new king did something bold. He called all the priests and said,
"Clean this temple up. Take out everything that shouldn't be here. We're gonna worship God the right way again."
Day after day, Hezekiah worked hard to bring his people back to God. He told his workers to break all the fake idols. You could hear hammers hitting stone all through Jerusalem as the false gods came crashing down. Where strange altars once stood, now there was nothing but broken pieces. But Hezekiah wanted to do more than just break statues. He wanted to fix his people's hearts. He helped them remember their special bond with God and all the promises God made to their families long ago. Little by little, the people started to remember who they really were. The temple came alive again. Songs and prayers filled its halls once more. The right kind of offerings rose from the altar. Joy returned to Jerusalem as people went back to worshiping the true God. But not everyone was happy about these changes. Far away in the north, the mighty Assyrian army was getting ready. They had heard about this young king who dared to be different. They had beaten many other nations before, and now they were looking at Jerusalem. What Hezekiah did was brave, but it came with danger. A big storm was coming, the biggest test his faith would ever face. But for now, the people of Judah were finally back on the right path, following one true God. We need to tell you about the scariest army anyone had ever seen. The Assyrians weren't just regular soldiers. They were like a huge storm that destroyed everything in their path. When they marched, the ground shook under the feet of thousands of warriors, all trained to take over every land they wanted. Think about this. They had huge wooden towers as tall as trees, rolling toward city walls on big wheels. These weren't just simple towers. They were moving battle houses. The Assyrians would put their best bow fighters in these towers to shoot arrows down at the people below. Their scariest weapon was something called a battering ram. a huge log with a metal head shaped like a ram's head. These machines would hit against city walls over and over, never getting tired, never stopping until the walls broke apart like blocks. The Assyrians knew that breaking walls wasn't enough. They needed to break people's hope too. Before they attacked a city, they would send people to tell scary stories about all the other cities they had destroyed. Many cities gave up just from hearing these stories. Their army was super organized. They had special soldiers just for building bridges and roads. Others knew how to dig under walls. Some could even change the way rivers flowed to flood cities or stop their water supply. When the Assyrians surrounded a city, they didn't just attack it. They cut off everything. No food could get in. No water could get in. No messages could get in or out. They would build a circle of camps around the city, showing the people inside that they weren't leaving until the city fell. Their arrows weren't just normal arrows. The Assyrian bowfighters were so good, and there were so many of them, that when they all shot at once, people said it looked like the sun had disappeared. Their wall of shields was like a moving metal mountain, keeping their soldiers safe as they moved forward. The Assyrians were proud that everyone was scared of them. They made big stone pictures showing how they won their battles, making sure everyone knew what happened to those who fought against them. Their king, Sennacherib, loved to brag about his army. He wrote about his wins on clay tablets, telling everyone how easily his army could beat anyone who fought them. He called himself the Great King, the King of the world. Now think about being in Jerusalem, hearing that this huge army was coming your way. The same army that had already beaten the northern kingdom of Israel. The same army that had destroyed hundreds of cities. The same army that no one had ever beaten. This was what Hezekiah and his people were facing. But what happened next would surprise everyone, even the mighty Assyrians. We can almost hear the worried whispers in Jerusalem streets. How can we fight such a strong enemy? But Hezekiah wasn't ready to give up. He knew the Assyrians were coming, but he had a plan. First, Hezekiah called all the workers in Jerusalem.
We need stronger walls.
He told them.
Bigger, taller, thicker walls.
Soon, the sound of hammers and chisels filled the air as workers built new walls around the city. They worked from sunrise to sunset, racing to finish before the enemy came. But Hezekiah knew walls alone wouldn't save them. In a long fight, they would need water more than walls. The city's main water source was outside the walls. That wouldn't work if the Assyrians surrounded them. So Hezekiah had another idea, a clever one. He ordered workers to dig a secret tunnel. This wasn't just any tunnel. It was super long and went right through solid rock. Workers started digging from both ends, hoping to meet in the middle. It was hard work, but they kept going. This tunnel would bring water from a spring outside the city right into Jerusalem. While some people worked on the tunnel, others gathered food and supplies. Hezekiah had special seals made. We call them LMLK seals. These seals were stamped on jars filled with oil, wine, and grain. Each sealed jar meant more food for the hard days ahead. The whole city was busy. Some people made weapons. Others fixed old buildings. Everyone had a job to do. Hezekiah walked among his people, telling them to be brave.
Don't be afraid,
He would say.
The Assyrians are strong, but our God is stronger.
Day by day, Jerusalem changed. The new walls grew taller. The tunnel got longer. The storerooms filled with food. What was once just a city was becoming a fortress. But Hezekiah did more than just build walls and gather food. He helped his people be strong inside too. He reminded them about all the times God had saved them before. He told them stories about David beating Goliath, about Moses crossing the Red Sea. These stories gave people hope. Hezekiah knew something very important. Yes, they needed strong walls and lots of food, but they needed strong hearts even more. The Assyrians were famous for making people scared, for making them give up before the battle even started. But Hezekiah worked hard to keep his people's hopes high. The question on everyone's mind was, would all this be enough? Could their walls stand against the mighty Assyrian army? Would their food last? Would their water tunnel work? But most importantly, would God protect them like He had protected their people so many times before? The ground shook as thousands of Assyrian soldiers marched toward Jerusalem. From the city walls, scared people watched as the huge army spread out around their city like a sea of weapons and shields. But something strange happened. Instead of attacking right away, one man stepped forward from the Assyrian army. This was Rabshakeh, their commander. He wanted to talk, but his words were meant to hurt and scare. Rabshakeh was clever. He didn't speak in the language of kings and rulers. No, he shouted in Hebrew, the language all the people on the walls could understand. He wanted everyone to hear his scary message.
Listen to me, people of Jerusalem,
he yelled.
Why do you trust your king Hezekiah? He can't save you. And don't think your God will help either. No God has ever stopped the Assyrian army.
Rabshakeh wasn't done being mean. He laughed at Jerusalem's army.
I'll make you a deal.
He smirked.
I'll give you 2,000 horses, if you can even find enough riders for them.
He knew this would make the people feel weak and scared. Then he tried to trick them with sweet words.
If you give up now, we'll take you to a nice place. A place with lots of food and grapevines. You can live there instead of dying here, behind these walls.
The people on the walls started to shake with fear. Some began to wonder if maybe Rabshakeh was right. Maybe they should give up. The fear spread through the city like a dark cloud. When King Hezekiah heard these words, they hurt him deeply. He tore his nice clothes and put on rough sackcloth to show how sad he was. But he still wouldn't give up. Instead, he did something very wise. Hezekiah sent messengers to the prophet Isaiah. Isaiah was God's special messenger, and Hezekiah needed to know what God wanted them to do. The whole city waited to hear what Isaiah would say. Isaiah's answer surprised everyone.
Don't be afraid. God has heard how the Assyrians made fun of him. They will not win this fight.
Night fell over Jerusalem. Outside the walls, thousands of Assyrian campfires looked like stars on the ground. Inside the city, King Hezekiah went to the temple to pray. Lord, he prayed,
You alone are God. Please hear us. Please save us. Show everyone that you are the true God.
That night, something amazing happened. The normal sounds of the huge army, the talking, the moving around, the clanking of weapons, all went quiet. It was a strange, scary kind of quiet. When the sun came up the next morning, the people of Jerusalem peeked over their walls. What they saw made them gasp. The mighty Assyrian army wasn't getting ready to attack. They weren't moving at all. All through the huge camp, 185,000 Assyrian soldiers lay dead. But there were no wounds, no signs of fighting. Something had happened in the night, something that no one could explain. Word spread quickly through Jerusalem. An angel, people whispered. The angel of the Lord came in the night. The same angel that had done mighty things in the old stories had come again. Some say it was a sickness that killed the army. Others say it was the same angel who struck Egypt long ago. But everyone agreed. Only God could have done something this amazing. The few Assyrian soldiers who were still alive ran away as fast as they could. King Sennacherib, who had bragged about being so powerful, rushed back home to his city of Nineveh. But even there, he couldn't escape God's punishment. Later, while he was praying to his false god, his own sons killed him with swords. The mighty king who had made fun of the true God met a sad end. Jerusalem was saved. The people danced in the streets and sang songs of thanks to God. Hezekiah had trusted God instead of giving up, and God had saved them in an amazing way. This story of the mysterious angel became famous all through the land. It showed everyone that no army, no matter how strong, could stand against God's power. Wow! The angel who struck down 185,000 soldiers in one night must have been incredibly powerful. But did you know this was just one of many mighty angels God has sent to help his people? Think about it. If one angel could defeat the biggest army in the world, what could 7 special angels do? That's right. There are 7 archangels who each have amazing jobs given by God himself. Some heal people, some fight evil, and some bring special messages from heaven. And here's something that will surprise you. The angel who saved Jerusalem might have been one of these 7. Want to know which one? Well, we're going to tell you all about these amazing archangels. You'll discover which angel is the scariest of them all, which one helps sick people get better, and what special jobs God gave to each of them. The best part? We'll reveal what these angels will do at the end of the world. Just click the video on your screen right now. Trust us, after hearing about their powers, you'll never think about angels the same way again.